Welcome, collectors and heavy equipment enthusiasts. Thank you so much for joining me for another brand new edition of Diecast Emporium. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the first gear 1/50th scale Komatsu D65EX-17 Crawler Bulldozer, and not just the EX-17, but you get a twofer in this video. How about the PX-17 as well? Now, there are a bunch of differences in these two bulldozers. It's not just the name. The PX is more or less a VPAT or an LGP dozer, whereas the EX machine is more of a standard bulldozer setup with a ripper at the rear. We're going to go over all of these differences as we go along. Now, the boxes are all but the same. They have the same picture. They have the same description for both models. Really, the only way to differentiate the two is by looking at first gear's item number on the bottom of the box, which in this case reads 50-3246, and this tells us that it's the PX-17 version of the model. Other notable information that is included on the bottom of the box are, of course, First Gear's social information with their email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube page, as well as their phone number, and all of the copyright information. The back of the box shows us a few outline drawings of the real machine, as well as its dimensions and specifications. So if you were into that kind of thing, feel free to pause the video right now. Let's go ahead and waste no more time. We will crack open the PX version of the model. As I said, both of them are identical in terms of packaging. You will have to, when you open this for the first time, cut a couple of tapes that just secure the two plastic formers together during shipping, but thankfully there are no twist ties that you need to navigate. Once you cut the two tapes, carefully lift the top portion of the first plastic cover off, and then lift the model straight out of the box. When we come back, we will have both of the models on the review table, and we will begin the model's review. Alright, welcome back, everyone. We have both of the models out of their packaging. Now we can begin the review in earnest. Now, both of these models, although they are the same machine, that being, of course, the Komatsu D65, they have a lot of differences. So let's begin with the standard version of the model, if you will. The big difference is, of course, the blade. So the standard version has more of a standard bulldozer blade, and at the rear it has a 3-shanked ripper, which, as you see, is functional. You can lower it or raise it out of service. It does have some rubber hydraulic lines going to it to give it some realism. The tracks are another big point of contention on this model. You can see that they are very different. The LGP dozer, the tracks are almost twice as wide as they are on the standard version of the bulldozer. If we look at the blade setup, as you can see, the cylinders are plastic, which make it a little precarious when operating this model. It is about 10 years old or so, so you do want to be careful. There is very little tilt forward on this dozer, but you can raise and lower it if you are very careful. The cab features no opening doors, but if you look closely, you can see there's a seat and some joysticks, so a decent amount of detail inside the cab. The graphics are very sharply applied, with the D65EX and Komatsu particularly standing out very nicely. Also, both of these dozers feature the same danger warning label towards the front of the machine. Both of these dozers, again, at the rear have this nice hand shovel, which again is a nice feature, gives it a little bit more realistic look to it, adds to the immersion factor. You also have a single windshield wiper at the back of the cab and the Komatsu logo. There are lights throughout. Taking a look at the top down, you can see an air cleaner and exhaust and two forward-facing lights. Looking underneath this dozer, you can see licensed by Komatsu USA, copyright 2012, First Gear Incorporated. If you take a closer look, you can see at each of the bolt detailing on each of the track shoes. So that is the EX version of the dozer. Let's now transition to the PX version, or what I like to call the 6-way or LGP version of this dozer. You'll notice immediately that this does not have a ripper, but instead it has a tow hitch, and it does have a hole that is drilled all the way through. So if you wanted to pull one of your machines out of a stuck position in a diorama or display, you could do it with this one. Again, the tracks, twice as big, twice as long. Both dozers feature working top rollers, which help the tracks move very freely. They are spring-loaded, so they are apt to pop off, so you got to be careful of that. Same decals, same style of paint applied everywhere. Again, your cylinder jackets are all plastic, so you got to be a little bit careful when you are posing this dozer. So as we'll see right now, you got to be a little bit careful, but it goes up to a height of about there. You also get a good range of tilt scale-wise, left and right. And you can move your blade left or right, helped along by your cylinders here for your 6-way blade. The opposite end of things, the blade will go down to there, which is just below the machine, but the cylinders are not strong enough to hold the machine tracks free. So that will conclude my review of First Gear's 1/50th scale Komatsu DX65EX and Komatsu DX65PX bulldozers. Both make excellent additions to your 1/50th scale construction collection, especially if you primarily collect cat machines and you're looking for a little bit of diversity in your collection. Before we sign off, let's take a look at what these look like on an American 1/50th scale lowboy. We'll begin with the EX. So I have a Diecast Masters XL120 HDG, low-profile US-style lowboy. Now, obviously, these are tracked machines, so we have our tracks and outrigger boards extended for a wide track machine, like a dozer or an excavator. Now, around me, I've seen this size dozer loaded one of two ways. You can obviously load it in a conventional fashion, where the dozer is facing towards the rear of the trailer, but I've also seen these with the dozer facing towards the front of the truck. So that's what the EX looks like. Now, let's take a look at what the PX looks like on the lowboy. Again, this version is even more imperative to have those wide planks out and your lowboy oversized load signs up, because the tracks are wide enough to hang off the side of the trailer, as is the blade, because the blade is longer than the width of the trailer. So that will conclude this review. If you are interested in purchasing one or both of these for your collection, you can pick them up now at constructiondiecast.com. There will be a link in this video's description. Again, they are available now. These have been out for a number of years. Click on the link. It will take you straight to that page. I do believe it is good value for the money. These are not terribly expensive models, and they do make excellent additions to your collection. As always, I'm Tommy with Diecast Emporium. Thank you all so very much for watching. Take a look at your screen right now for another suggested Diecast Emporium review. Until next time, take care and be safe. I'll see you in the next review.